walking away.
Huh?
Am I free to go?
Why are you giving me the finger?
Am I free to go?
No.
For
Come here.
what reason?
What's your badge? What's your name?
Step back.
Look,
he just touched me. You can record all you want, but you're stepping back right now.
Case 1. 15-year-old junior lawman. For our first misdemeanor, let's cut back to September 2019, where some cops lightly surround a house. It all began from the kid's father, where he was suddenly dragged outside by the police without really doing anything.
Just tase me for no reason. I'm not resisting.
Oh, looks like there's trouble. See, kids, even the law, actually, mostly higher authorities abuse their power. So the source of this was a disturbance complaint. It started with our main protagonist, Jack, the 15-year-old zooming around in a gas-powered bike. The neighbors didn't like him cramping their style, so he threatened to beat him up. That's when Jack's father comes in and argues with the neighbor. Allegedly, another neighbor called because the father apparently had a glizzy tucked at the back of his trousers. Police came to the scene, and this is where it all begins to go downhill. Police knocked on the door because of the complaints. Then the father came out with his smartphone camera rolling. He was very uptight with how he greets them because first, he asks for both the officer's name and their badge number. But the feds ignore this, and then this happens.
Let's go ahead and talk about the incident that you had out here a few minutes ago.
Don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. Step down here for me.
No thanks.
Yeah, no. Hey!
Whoa.
Oh boy, they're really getting handsy with this guy, but he refuses to get arrested because there's no cause for his arrest. The officers cling tightly to him and even search him lightly, as previously mentioned. He might have a gap behind him. However, this is not the case because he remains unarmed. The father then calls for the hero of this whole shebang, Jack, as he shouts to record this entire ordeal. The cops get really frisky and drag the father really harshly. Remember that tasing scene from earlier? Well, this is from Jack's phone. The father demands to know the crime of his actions, but the cops really couldn't cough anything out other than resisting arrest, which is total malarkey. So 2 cops gang up on Jack's daddy. Then another one comes up and tries to take Jack's phone, but that's a big no-no.
This is unbelievable.
No, I know.
This is
They
unbelievable.
walked in the house without a search warrant.
This is unbelievable.
Okay.
It's all on film. Get my camera.
It's on my phone too.
It's on my phone. The whole thing is on film. The whole thing is on film. Jack, follow me and record.
Okay.
This way.
Follow me and record.
Give us space.
Okay.
No, Jack.
What's your space? What's your space?
Jack, record the whole thing. Oh, you're recording.
Give us space.
Does this look like enough space?
My camera fell somewhere back there.
What am I doing? You don't twist the handcuffs. You're injuring me. I'm not resisting.
Downey, do not let him in my house.
Please, I'm so calm and you're resisting.
Close my door. Lock it.
I haven't done anything, bro. You saw that. You saw the whole thing and it's all been recorded.
It is.
I didn't resist.
I know.
I didn't do it. You know. See, he acknowledged that I didn't resist, Jack.
Yeah, I have it on video.
I didn't resist.
But we asked you to stop, right?
I didn't do anything against your instructions. This guy came into my house without a warrant, without any probable cause.
Let me just talk for a second.
I said, I don't know anything, and he tackled me in my house.
He told you to stop, right?
He did not say anything of the sort.
Officer,
it's all
I
on
heard the
video.
whole thing, and it's on video, so.
It's all on
I know,
video.
it is.
It's all on video.
It is.
Dude, that guy is out of control. I'm finally
Officer,
complaining against him. I
officer.
want him nowhere near me. That guy is crazy.
Officer.
This is me and you, right?
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm fine. No, he can
No.
talk. He can talk.
No,
I can
not
talk
what I'm
because
trying
I
to
was
do.
in this
You're gonna arrest
situation.
him?
No, we're not going to arrest
Okay,
you.
then calm down. Then just what? What?
Well,
He
you want
can
me to talk to you?
He recorded the whole thing. This guy is out of
Listen to me.
control.
Okay.
What's your badge? What's your name?
Step back.
I'm not.
Look, he
I'm
just
on my
touched me. You can
property.
record all you want, but you're
Another
stepping
one.
back
Another
right
one.
now.
This guy,
Back.
Hey, don't
Back.
touch me. Stop harassing me.
We're just trying to.
I'm videoing this. Please get out of my personal space.
No.
Yes.
You're not gonna
Get out
interfere
of my
with what we're
personal
doing.
space. This is my property. Please
You're
get
not
out of my
gonna interfere with an arrest.
I'm chill. I've been chill.
You can record all you want, but you're not gonna get close to what they're
I'm on
doing.
my property. Move out of my personal space.
I'm gonna
please.
stand right
This
here.
is my personal square. Please move.
I'm gonna stand right here.
Please move. You're in my personal space.
No.
What's your name?
Yeah, I do not need to give you that.
Yeah, you do.
For what reason?
Jack, don't do it.
You're
I know.
involved in this.
I'm involved with this. Yes, but this guy threatened me and called the cops on you. And what's your badge number?
What's your name?
What's your badge number? Badge number. That says name.
3K12.
Okay.
Now, what's your name?
I'm not making any statements.
You're not making any statements?
Nope.
Okay, I have the right to identify you. You understand that, right?
Then you can search up my face and you can search up my record.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, you're going to sit tight for a minute. You're not going anywhere.
I can go in my house if I want.
No, you
Am I
can't.
detained?
You're detained.
For what reason? For what? That guy
going
threatening me? Why isn't that guy going to jail?
Man, these cops are wildin' out here. Also, Jack did get touched by one of the cops. Not to mention, one of these greasy geezers here keeps being defensive while trying to retrieve their body camera from Jack's house. Jack allowed them. But man, they're really just putting any mongrel on the force nowadays.
You're the one driving up and down the street on the motorcycle?
I was on my gas bicycle.
Okay, that's a gas-powered vehicle. You have to have a driver's license.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do.
Not when it's 50cc and you have a permit for it.
Jack is right on that one too. The father's name is Michael Franchik and looks like he actually had a concealed carry permit, meaning if he didn't wave it around like Annie Oakley, he's A-okay. Then it's all caught in fork that the cops just want to use juvenile court just to intimidate Jack, even though he has 0 charges. Funnily enough, the officers admit that Michael didn't do anything wrong on their own body cameras. Absolutely brainless behavior. Not to mention, the cops later take Michael away, and they just belittle Jack because he's being mouthy, when in fact, he knows the law quite well. Later on, it's also caught in 4K that these bustas were scheming to press false charges on Michael and his son. What they didn't know is that despite still covering the camera, the audio still picked up. We're not going to show you the recording because it has a lot of no words. Nearly a year later, Michael got some misdemeanor charges, but refuses to plead anything to it. The bearded idiot known as Officer Rodriguez was charged with 5 violations, including the tasing of Michael. Officer Thor violated 3. Also, both of them got fired. 3 cheers for that. Michael then filed a lawsuit for over $1 million bones, and Jack is above 18 now, and he's gonna take up a course on law. Oh, how the tables have turned.
He challenged me to fight and dared me to come down. Okay, I came down, he stood off on me, and I did a pectoral jab with my flashlight.
Case 2, Bird Scooter Breakdown.
Disturbing the peace.
On to our second case. This might just be another one of those okay boomer moments. Basically, there's this dispute between Bay Bay City Public Safety Director, Michael K. Sakini, and these 2 Tony Hawk Pro Skater-looking teenagers.
Disturbing the peace. Both of them squealing their wheels at me.
He's talking.
Okay. They come here, they hit the cone, they're messing around here around this new monument. It went on for about 5 minutes. Okay? I'd had enough. I'm upstairs. All right? I said some bad words. All right?
Okay.
He challenged me to fight and dared me to come down. Okay? I came down. He stood off on me, and I did a pectoral jab with my flashlight.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
My side?
Okay.
My side first, right?
So,
I say
Hold
my
on.
side?
Yes,
Okay.
you do. Just wait.
I'll cut a supplement. 2 charges here,
Okay.
in my opinion.
Here's the scoop.
But I'll let you investigate it.
Okay.
Bird scoop.
I'll get their statements. I come check in with you. Okay.
All right, first
Talk to him.
Me?
Yep. Talk.
Okay.
Okay. You got nothing on you?
No.
Okay. All right. What's going on?
So we were just riding around on burn scooters, you know, like teenagers do. And then he came up
How old
here.
are you?
I'm 19.
Okay.
And he hit the cone right here and knocked it over.
What cone?
I think it was the one
Can
with
you
the gray
step
on there.
aside? Okay. Middle one.
Yeah, and knocked it over, and then he started yelling, and he threatened him first. So he was defending himself,
Okay,
like
how-
against him.
How did he threaten him?
I don't remember exactly what he said,
Okay.
but he antagonized him, so he was defending himself.
Okay. What led up to that point?
We were riding around down here. We were going down there, turning around, coming back up here. We were riding around this thing a little bit.
Okay. And then, so you hit the cone, and then what happened?
He hit the cone.
Sorry, that's what I meant to say. He hit the cone, then what happened?
Then he started yelling at us, and he defended himself.
Where did he come from?
He was up there, up at the top.
Okay.
Basically, Michael the Boomer threatened to beat these 2 kids, but the 2 kids actually said nothing back. at least according to this guy's defense. Michael came down with a flashlight and poked Travis, the dude in the pink hoodie, in the rib cage with the flashlight and shined it on his eyes. The cop interviewing this dude asks for his ID for more information. Once he's done jotting down his personal information, he asks the specifics of the incident, like their exact whereabouts. Basically, Michael was unreasonably threatening him about 15 to 20 minutes ago before the cops showed up. So let's get to Travis' testament.
I was riding. You know how like when you press the brake, the back wheel locks up and it makes a squeaking noise, right?
Okay.
Yeah, you can drift when you do that. It's kind of fun, right?
Okay.
I get it's kind of late and stuff, right?
Right.
But he's up there. He goes, "Hey, big shot, you want to go?" Right? Because he said, "Why don't you keep it down?" I said, "I'm not doing nothing wrong." He goes, "Hey, big shot, you want to go?" Right? So, obviously, you know, I'm a dude, 18 years old. I can hold my own ground. I'm gonna hold my own ground, right?
Okay.
So I didn't know who he was, right? This random old guy, older guy, not trying to be rude, right? So I said, "Yeah, come down, we can go," right? He's threatening me to fight me, right? And I stood right here. I said, "What's up?" He walks up to me and like, "I'm not gonna hit you, I promise." He goes like that and jabs me like right here in the ribs with the flashlight.
Okay.
And then he said he felt threatened. My hands were at my sides. I don't know. I didn't swing at him. I didn't pick up.
What did you do when he walked down?
I just stood there. I said, "What's up?" Like, I didn't know who he was. He looked at his badge. I seen he was a cop. I'm not gonna swing at a cop. You know, I have more respect than that. You know, he has authority over me. He's better than me. You know, all I know he's
So he hits you in the stomach with the flashlight.
like the
what?
rib cage, not the
Okay.
stomach, bro.
So it was just a good old Mexican standoff from Travis' perspective, but he really didn't bite. But he was being taunted by Michael to fight back, despite being already poked with a flashlight. He didn't want to fight a cop since Michael started waving his badge around after he came down. He was telling the cop or her that he wanted to fight him, but he actually did nothing. He was taunted several times, but Travis here behaved. Then the cops were called, and now we're here. Eventually, from all of this, Michael was charged with assault and battery, and he even announced his retirement from the force back in October 2022. Serves this raggedy bald eagle right.
We're about to do a test, and he's going to find out I had nothing to drink. He's going to look stupid.
Case 3. Power tripping cop. Now, we're all highly aware how power corrupts, right? Well, the cops are usually a shining example of this. So we have our main guy here, Taven Gilanikis. He's a college student who's about to return home from his friend's hangout session. He gets pulled over by Officer Nathan Winters here. And a little fun fact about him before we build this up to the actual bust. According to credible sources, Officer Winters was actually involved in a domestic violence case that involved his ex-girlfriend. Basically, he beat her silly, but he was still allowed to keep his job. Getting back to the present, Taven gets pulled over for having high beams on his car in the middle of a rainy night. Let me just say how much of a genius case that is, because really, having your lights on at high in the middle of a rainy night is a crime. So let's just get this over with. First and foremost, license and registration. Officer Winters gets Taven's information, yada yada yada. Then the officer here gets a closer inspection on Taven's eyes. He says they're bloodshot, but you be the judge. Does that look bloodshot to you? So he gets asked for more information, but he has to step out of his vehicle and step into the police vehicle. He comes quietly, mind you, and he's being accused of drinking. Taven states that he has not drunk anything, but the cops say he reeks of alcohol, so it's all up there. Well, Taven is very confident once they get to the alcohol test, but first, that we shall.
We'll probably get there. How old
That's
are
funny.
you?
19.
Huh?
19.
Okay.
I've had nothing to drink.
Okay. So your movements in the car with you fumbling over the registration,
Yep.
kind of say otherwise.
All right.
And so does the odor of alcohol coming from your person.
Great. Let's do a test then.
We'll get to the test.
I can't wait. So what happens if, nothing pops up? Do you get in trouble?
No? Why would I get in trouble?
Because you think I'm drinking, but I'm not drinking.
I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
All right, let's find out real quick.
I'm not gonna get in trouble for doing what I'm supposed to do.
Can I record it?
Yeah, absolutely.
What's your name?
My name's Officer Winters.
So Officer Winters thinks I'm drinking tonight. We're about to do a test, and he's gonna find out I had nothing to drink. He's gonna look stupid. Ain't that right? I've had nothing to drink, 0. And we're about to find out.
So, they get out of the car shortly after to do the sobriety test. And a word of warning. These tests are incredibly flawed and highly dependent on the perception and bias of these cops. Basically, the first test is that cops look at your eyes, and you have to follow their fingers to measure the steadiness of your eyesight. Then some walking and get tests to see if you could keep your balance while walking and maintaining your balance. Officer Winters clearly has some obvious biases, as he nitpicks really specific, yet irrelevant things in the test, and he even ignores some of Taven's inquiries about them. Soon after, Taven gets quite annoyed, and he learns that Officer Winters isn't a rookie at all. He's been on the force for years, yet he behaves like a rookie. So eventually, Taven is taken in. What a travesty on how unfair the police could be.
Why are you giving me the finger?
I'm free to go. Am I free to go?
What's your problem?
Am I free to go?
No.
What, do you have a problem?
Case 4. Free Bird Up the Cops. Our next case has quite the stereotypical rebellious streak, so let's let the first few seconds speak for this.
Why are you giving me the finger?
What?
What's your problem?
What?
Why are you giving me the finger?
I'm walking away.
Huh?
Am I free to go?
Why are you giving me the finger?
Am I free to go?
No.
For
Come here.
what reason?
Why are you giving me the finger?
I'm free to go.
What's
Am I free to go?
What's your problem?
Am I free to go?
No.
What, do you
your
have a
name?
problem?
No.
Do you have a problem?
No.
If you don't have a problem, then I can leave.
Why are you giving me the finger when you're walking? Huh? Come here.
I'm free to go.
No,
Walk
you're
the
not.
walk.
Get over here.
What?
Get over here.
Why?
Because.
Is that a lawful order?
Yeah.
For what reason?
Because you're giving me the finger.
That's legal.
No, it isn't.
Says who?
Says it all.
Pull up the law.
Huh?
Pull up the law.
What's your name?
What's the law?
What's your
What's
name?
the law?
What's your name? How
What's the
old
law?
are you?
I appreciate it. Have a good one.
So this brave kid mouths him off once more, dropping a few F-bombs here and there. Then the Fed gets ticked off.
Get over here. Get over here.
What?
Get over here.
I'm not doing anything illegal.
Yeah, you are. You just cursed me off.
That's not a crime.
Yes, it is.
Says who?
Says me.
Says who?
Turn around. Come on.
So this cop gets ticked off of a few German words. Then he turns off his body camera. What an amazing display of fairness. Not only that, but you could hear the kid yelling for help as he is unlawfully detained. Soon, another cop arrives on the scene to scope out what this pig known as Officer Michael Pritch is doing. The cop coming into the scene is Patrolman Michael James Lamontagne. He's here to assess the situation, and it looks like the kid here retains his rights to not be unlawfully detained because honestly, in America, swearing is A-OK. It's a part of the First Amendment after all. I mean, to be fair, this is exactly the reason why cops are getting the finger randomly, for degenerate behavior like this. So the patrolman is trying to figure out the situation. Then the chubby kid asks directly what his crimes were and why he is being detained. I tell you, this kid's got moxie for knowing and using the law like that to his advantage. Eventually, the kid gets both of their identifications and he gives them his ID. He plans on suing them for unlawful detainment and harassment, and let's hope he got these disgusting worms.
I've done some crazy stuff in my life. Not once have I ever said that.
Case 5. Straight out to Atlanta. Time for our final case. And this one looks familiar too. Not just to the previous case, but you know that song from the NWA that got them in heaps of trouble with the corrupt legal system. Yeah, that song. Our story begins on a random street in Atlanta where this cop pulls up these gentlemen here. The usual takes place as he asks for their license and registration, but something comes up. Apparently, these guys were pulled up because someone yelled a certain song by the NWA to these cops, so they got offended like the fragile little mongrels that they are. This cop looks ticked off, so he's not playing games when he asks Brandon here what he did. Apparently, he knows him, and he really gets Brandon's personal space. He scolds Brandon about his remarks, but personally, I think it was pretty based he said that. Brandon walks away the winner here with that NWA Riz, but the officer keeps crying and crying about what he said because it hurt his little feelings. Maybe we need to call him a wambulance too. I know offensive words can get out of hand, but this is just ridiculous. Very petty, even. Eventually, he power trips and makes everyone get out of the Jeep to search them for the devil's cabbage. Now, here's a real reminder. This is a violation of free speech, and not to mention, this search is not legally warranted. He and his cop buddies searched the vehicle and looked down on them from top to bottom. They're eventually let go, but suddenly, the officer here also leaves them with a subtle threat that despite the fact he has torn ligaments, he claims that he can take them all on. Outstanding police work, everyone. Ironically, he admits later on that he can't search their Jeep like that. Not only is he absurdly sensitive, but also massively stupid. Then the angry cop's partner then comes in to gaslight Brandon.
What if that was a DUI person I just stopped on the side of the road and got them off the street and keep from hitting somebody in your family and killing them?
Yes, sir.
You got to look at it, you know what I'm saying, that it all goes around.
Yes, sir. I mean, why do you really feel like that? Because you really feel like that. Huh?
Brandon remains to be speechless, but how could he really compete? He's only like 16 to 17. We can't expect too much from them.
Because you obviously have some pent-up frustrations. And I'm going to tell you right now, neither one of us done anything to you. Yes, sir. So tell me, be honest about it. Why in the world do you really feel that way? Because deep down, you have to feel it. Because that you know what? I've done some crazy stuff in my life. Not once have I ever said that.
Sounds like a you problem if you can't understand police corruption and freedom of speech, buddy. His friends then are asked to drive off and leave. Then the partner cop tries to reason with Brandon once more.
It's your own picture, dude. I mean, we ain't never done anything to you.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I'm not saying not all cops are good, because you do got some bad cops out there, but I don't consider myself one of them.
Yes, sir.
I mean, if you was in a car accident, whatever, I'd do my best to try to save your life.
Yes, sir. And that includes putting ourselves in danger doing it. Yes, sir. Get out of here. I'm tired of dealing with you.
Amazing gaslighting. Truly Karen levels of gaslighting. They definitely did something wrong with harassing some minors over a petty curse word, and they unlawfully searched a vehicle. That's a big no-no in the eyes of Lady Justice. Not to mention, Brandon here was pretty helpless, so I guess we lied about the 200 IQ teens title then. The good news is that this officer is now former Officer James Sanders, and he's appealing his termination from the police department. How poetic. All right, that's all straight out of Compton. Which cop did you hate the most? Do you have any experiences like these? Tell us in the comments below. We're interested to know. If you want more of our videos, make sure to check out the videos in the cards now. Thanks for watching. And remember, power corrupts.